An overview of our solution whereby we seek to enhance the aspect of water extraction, water transportation, mainly focusing on the infrastructure that's actually being used in water companies. So yes, so the points actually illustrate therefore relating to internal factors such as high pressure that usually occurs in pipes, external factors regarding high temperatures, or maybe at times possibilities of earthquakes, especially that could be a factor that could affect people who drill for water using boreholes. And then there's also the issue of having Internet of Things, whereby at times the technologies they cannot actually be placed throughout the entire infrastructure of water utilities, and mostly there are also water engineers who are in various companies which are unable to actually utilize some of the applications that are actually being devised. So this is now the solution architecture, whereby it commences with the Microsoft Fabric. We're using the event analytics, specifically one workload known as the real-time intelligence. Then for the item types, there are three: for the event stream, data flow generation 2, and the activator, Microsoft Activator. So for the flow intelligence, we're using the GitHub Copilot as well, mainly for assisting with the code generation. And then there's the Azure a proxy playgrounds like the GPT, and mostly the information that it actually starts with collecting them from IoT sensors. So for companies that don't have the sensors, it could just be manual records of temperature levels and such. And then we're actually analyzing it through use of three-dimensional softwares. So the goals are simply like to have an aspect of environmental assessment and the other factors that have been able to be outlined on the right-hand side of the image. So yes, so these are some of the objectives about how we can actually shape towards digital transformation, minimizing of defects, and maximizing the operational efficiency, while at least examining aspects such as how we can actually manage the supply chains of equipment that are being used, and at least making sure that the data is actually isn't bounded in silos. So for the alignment towards the hackathon, the pain points that of course we are seeking is how we could actually aid water engineers, and we actually are addressing a real life problem because these water shortages that it's actually a global phenomenon, and we also seek on creating an application by use of Microsoft Fabric's built-in data ingestion tools, and as well as other AI platforms like the GPT, and not to mention we are supplementing information by use of three-dimensional softwares. So for the Fabric, as you mentioned before, we're actually using the workload for the real-time intelligence, which is mainly used for provision of real-time data. Then the item types is event stream that usually we actually use it for examination of internal water properties, the data generation to ingestion of files, mainly for inventories, and then for the Fabric, whereby we actually Fabric activator, whereby we seek to trigger actions like, for instance, if the temperature level could be high, then at least water engineers could be notified and various actions could be taken. So yes, this is actually an illustration of how it actually we started it in the Microsoft Fabric. And now for the technologies for the AI, we're using the DALI playground, the GPT models, GitHub Copilot for Azure, and also we are examining how we could actually integrate the GPT towards creation of building materials as well for those who could actually be partially visually impaired. So for the innovation is that we are actually using GPT software together with other three-dimensional software such as AutoCAD and NX software from Siemens. They are mainly used for predictive analysis, and at the very least, we're actually using the workload for real-time intelligence and combining it together with the Microsoft Fabric Activator, which is actually shown in the GitHub repository, and at least using the Microsoft Fabric to actually create other variables, which actually the parameters being examined are for the dimensions. So these are actually the goals for environmental assessment and life cycle management. So for the impact, we're actually going to illustrate the milestones that we've actually been able to accomplish. The first one is, yes, we actually have been able to approach the various companies that focus on water who could benefit from a solution, being a participant in the World Bank program from the Youth Summit, also engaging in hackathons from the Huawei, which one of the team members actually managed to score second prize, and then yes, being selected to participate in a pre-conference for IBM, and then this certificate that was actually achieved, and now the current status, which relates to how the solution could actually be implemented by various innovation tracks that one of our team members is actually able to participate. Thank you for watching.